Okay guys, I thought I'd just do a sort of a theory run with the cables. So what I've done is I've laid boxes out as the battery, the stereo, the seats. I've got a couple of the speakers here on the floor and the amps. And what I've basically done, as you can see, this white box here with the battery terminal denotes my battery. Black cable is going to be my ground. Going back over to the top of the engine, I will have another ground that will be running back up to the top here. It's going to be linked into the spare nut, you can see there. It's going to be linked in there with the alternator. So I'm going to have that one running a 4 gauge as well, a 4 gauge line back down to the alternator. Then as you can see, the red one, that is 4 gauge as well. It's going to run back down. Then you got your fuse, your inline fuse, that's 100 amp. Then I'm going to run it back through down to here, the firewall. There's a plug that denotes the firewall. This is where it's going to get tricky. This is for the Rocky. From the firewall, I've got to come up at about a 45, 50, maybe 60 degree angle, and run it up the pillar of the passenger side. So that little loop there denotes how much I need to use in that certain area. I've got the measurements here somewhere, but I can't exactly remember what they are off the top of my head. So the little loop denotes it's running up the pillar. And then from there, I run it across the top of the passenger door into that little area behind the passenger seat up on the roof. And from there, as you can see, I'll have my distribution block. It's probably going to be bolted to the back of one of the wood panels that I've got already installed, which I've got to come back out again anyway, so I'll just bolt that to the back of the wood panel, in close proximity to the speaker. I may even go back a little bit further in between the speaker and the amp. Then you can see the little red cable. That's 4 gauge. Oh, sorry, that's 8 gauge. That's an 8 gauge wire that's going to run my power back down to the monoblock. So I'll come back over to here to the distribution block, and you can see all this cable that's wired. It's all circled up. That's all going to be spare. I've got almost, I'm looking at about 50, almost 100 inches. So that's spare, so I can use that to upgrade the alternator's battery. What I've got to do, and I've just found out, that I have no 8 gauge cable to run from this distribution block back up to the top of the just behind the passenger and the driver's seats, and then back down across here to the amp. That's the only problem I've got. I'm going to have to probably buy 10 feet of 8 gauge, and then I won't have that problem. The other cable that you can see out there, the black one at the back, that's 8 gauge. This one, I'll just move forward a little bit. This one here is going to be my ground cable. Now these are the only 2 cables, hopefully, that you're going to see, and you're not going to be able to see them very much anyway, because that ground cable is going to run from over here. The focus. It's going to come from there straight down to the base of the roll bar. I'm talking about 5 inches. It's not going to be a very long and noticeable cable. So you can see that I've laid out probably laid out 10 inches, 10 to 12 inches. So that's about all the cable that I'm going to be using from here to here for both sides. The rest of that, again, is spare cable. So I'm not going to throw it away because this stuff's not cheap. It's about $1.80, $2 a foot. So I'm going to have the ground running 5 inches off that amp, and then over here, same thing. The red one, I just laid that there as a well, actually I shouldn't even put it there. Just let me skip that out of there because this one's too long. That cable is actually supposed to be the one of the 8 gauge. That's the 8 gauge cable. Actually, why did I kick that away? What am I doing? There we go. Let's put that back. That's the 8 gauge cable from the distribution block back to the amplifier for its power. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to have that little length there spare from my toe over to the right. That's spare again as well. Then we go back up to the front here, in between the seats, to the head unit, and as you can see, I've got 2 RCAs. Now the head unit that I'm buying has got 6 RCA outputs. You've got 4 for the speakers, your mids, and 2 RCA connections for your subs. So once again, I've found out that I'm short an RCA cable. As you can see, this cable is going to fit perfectly. Just come back around here and stand in the engine bay. Just run it back down there. This one cuts across the top of the vehicle again, goes back down. This is the only place that's going to touch the power or come close to the 4 gauge power cable. I'm going to try and put some distance between that anyway. Run one low and run one high. There it goes all the way back down to. I've wired 1 and 1. I've wired one into the mono block, and then I've wired the other one back into the normal amplifier. These 2 RCAs should run back to this amplifier over here, and I will have to buy a 3rd RCA to run from the head unit here back down over to the monoblock sub. So there you go, it's pretty much it. As you can see, I've got the speaker boxes set out. That's one of the speakers. We start from the front actually, start from the driver's side. This is the front speaker in the door. It's going to be mounted down, say halfway between your knee and your ankle. Then I've already got this one, which is already in the car mounted in that position. Each speaker is in exactly the same position. I'm working for the complete sound area to be perfect. I want them the same distance. They're the same distance apart. They're the same height on the panel. They're in exactly the same spot on both sides of the panels. They're going to be exactly the same spot, or exactly the same distance from the rear speaker to the door speaker. And from the door speaker on the passenger side to the door speaker on the driver's side, they are going to be the same height, again, in the same height, exactly the same location in both doors. So, like I said, I just laid this out to give myself an idea of. It's a trial run, basically. It's a trial run to lay it out on the floor and see how it goes, and see what else I need to buy before we go any further. Well, as you can see up the back there, I've got the 2 subs. That's exactly where the subs are going to be mounted as well, in the back door, in exactly the same area, same distance away from the amps. It's all going to be balanced. So there you go. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we get the panels made up in the door and the front doors and get all the wiring in. It's a test run, and I'll have to take the panels in the back out again. There you go. Before I put the panels in the front doors back in. We'll have to get them made to start with. So, and the box, I am putting a box in the back. Like I said, it's all going to be carpeted, blue carpet. I'm going to do all that myself as well. So, let's see how I go. I'm no electrician by any means, but this is not a big job, really. I don't think it is. I think if anyone with a bit of knowledge or a computer that's able to research anything on the internet can do this. That's how I've learned all of this stuff so far, is just research. I've been researching this for 3 months now, so there it is.